Rio de Janeiro, the Emerson Fittipaldi Speedway, as the Kart Rio 400 continues. Bob Varsha, Danny Sullivan with you. Gary Gerald and Jan Bikas are in the pits, and out front, Alex Zanardi leads Greg Moore. Now Adrian Fernandez, that third car in line, is closing up a bit on Moore.
And what's interesting, Bob, is this is not just a battle here for this race win. These are the first three guys in the championship as well, with Greg Moore leading the championship, but just by 1 point over Alex Zanardi. So this has bigger implications than just the win.
No question about it. We see the numbers on Greg Moore. Behind Fernandez, Richie Hearn still runs 4th, Brian Herta 5th, Jimmy Vasser 6th, Al Unser Jr. is 7th, Michael Andretti 8th, Bobby Rahal 9th, and J.J. Leto is 10th. The only rookie in the top 10 right now. There is Moore. Twice a winner in 1997 of the FedEx Championship, and the youngest race winner in the history of the series. As I mentioned, the sun getting low over the mountains here in Rio, but the weather is still quite warm. As you can see, bright sunshine on the racetrack. Very high track temperatures here. That, of course, affects tire life. Jan Bikas with an update from the pits.
Well, we heard from Gary Gerald about the leaders being concerned about fuel and saving fuel. Well, on this end of pit road, Richie Hearn, Brian Herta, and Al Unser Jr. check with all those teams. They're in the very same situation. They all came in on the same lap, so they're in a similar situation to where they need to be very, very conservative on fuel, and they're not real confident, as far as those guys I mentioned, that they will be able to make it to the end without a splash and go unless they really lean the cars out. Bob?
All right, thank you, Jan. We can add to that. Patrick Carpentier has come back in and climbed from his car. After a long fight with the handling, his race is over. Meanwhile, his teammate appears to be closing up on Alex Zanardi. 20 laps to go. Let's get an update on the leader with Gary Gerald.
And it's still very much a fuel conservation mode for Alex Zanardi. And on the other side, for Greg Moore, he's been given information that in the last few laps, his mileage is vastly improved. That's why I think you're seeing Moore close that gap. Zanardi has to be worried what he sees the blue crew coming up in his mirror, because he still is somewhat iffy on fuel to go the distance. And we all remember what happened to Bobby Rahal with 3 miles to go here 1 year ago.
All right, thank you, Gary. As far as the championship goes, right now, the two men you're looking at, Alex Zanardi and Greg Moore, are tied. Zanardi will win the bonus point for most laps led during the course of a race. So right now they are tied with 51 apiece. And of course, they're both thinking about the 20 that come with victory. And of course, as Bobby Rahal proved last year, it's not a matter of first or second place points. If you push the fuel too far, you're going to wind up back around 10th place.
If you're lucky.
Right.
If you're lucky, because we've got an awful competitive field right now.
This is the Emerson Fittipaldi Speedway, but the actual name of this racetrack is the Emerson Fittipaldi Speedway at the Nelson Piquet International Raceway, which is the name of the entire complex, which includes the International Grand Prix Standard Road Course and both of the track's namesakes. Emerson Fittipaldi and 3-time Formula One world champion Nelson Piquet have been all over this racetrack all weekend, delighting the Brazilian fans. Slower traffic coming up, Moore drawing closer. Jan Bikas has more on Alex Zanardi.
Well, actually, on both the two guys running at the front, Alex Zanardi, of course, has Honda power, and both Alex Zanardi and Greg Moore are in Reynards. But they say that the Honda is not nearly as efficient as the Mercedes, and you can tell so by looking at the radiator ducts between the two cars. The Mercedes is much more closed off than what they have with the Honda. So if the Mercedes is more efficient, Greg Moore should have more fuel here to use at the end.
Jan, that's a good point, but I think at this stage, both Honda and Mercedes have a brand new engine this year, much smaller packages, and the word in the pit lane is that the Mercedes is a little bit behind. Everybody's making big gains, but I think the Honda is supposed to have a little bit of advantage in the power department.
While Jan was speaking, you saw both of the front runners make their way around Hiro Matsushita, and it was close down in turn 1 for Alex Zanardi. J.J. Leto in and out of the pits. He will drop out of the top 10. Well, who do you like from the pit wall? Neil Mickelwright and the Players crew for Jerry Forsyth Racing, or Tom Anderson and his gang at Target Chip Ganassi Racing? They've been doing pretty well. Pit calls basically helped their drivers win the races at Long Beach for Alex Zanardi, and then at Nazareth, that two-stop strategy that helped Jimmy Vasser into victory lane.
Well, I think you've probably got to look at the guys that have 2 championships, and Alex Zanardi has been out front all day long. He hasn't really been threatened. They've been close, and they've been keeping the pressure on him, but not the way that Greg Moore would like to be right up his gearbox right now, trying to look for a way past him. And the question comes to, how much are they running the fuel? Are they running at 96%, 94%, 92%? Are they saving a little bit for the end where they're going to turn it up? We don't know. Only the guys in the pits and in the cockpit know that.
Just a few car lengths separate them with 15 laps remaining at the CART Rio 400. We'll take a break and return with more. This is going to be another great finish. Here in Rio de Janeiro, the front 2 cars are now nose to tail. Alex Zanardi in red, Greg Moore in blue. Each man a proven winner. Zanardi, the reigning FedEx Series champion. And there will be 12 laps to go in the CART Rio 400
look at
when they
Greg
cross
Moore.
the stripe.
Sorry, did you see how sideways he got? He was on the throttle, got it sideways, trying to take a run off of Greg Moore off of that corner.
He nearly wound up in a smoky heap with that yellow car behind him. Here's
Look
another
at
look.
this. Look at Greg sliding that car off of there. Great car control, and boy, he was going to have a go.
So Greg Moore's heart is no doubt pounding away. Gary Gerald has more on him.
Well, I'm sure that it's pounding from a couple of senses, because we had reported a short time ago that they'd given him the green light on fuel. Well, now that's not the case. Mileage has gone down, and so I just checked in with Neil Mickelwright, and he said, no, we are got to conserve fuel over these last few laps. So this thing is still very much up in the air. We know Zanardi's still in the conservation mode. Now there's a big question mark over that blue car that's right behind him.
Oh boy, what a finish this is going to be. As you watch Alex Zanardi off to a great start this year, and that's not his custom in his brief career in the FedEx Championship. In his championship year last year, he scored 115 of his 132 points at the end of the season, but he's already got 1 victory this year in the first half. Down to Jan Bikas with Al Unser Jr.
Yes, unfortunately, Al has climbed from his car. Al, what put you out?
It was something with the engine. We don't know exactly what right now. But the Marlboro car was running good, you know. We made a hard charge for it, and, you know, my guys, they prepared the car really well today. And what can I say? You know, we gave it our best shot.
Thanks, Al.
Thank you.
And so the victory drought continues for Al Unser Jr., second among active drivers with 31 to Michael Andretti's 37. But he has not had much luck thus far this season, even with that second place in the Budweiser 500 at Twin Ring Motegi in Japan. 10 laps remained in the CART Rio 400 as Alex Zanardi, who, remember, walked over and kissed the top step of the podium during the driver introductions. He is familiar with that position. Leading Greg Moore. Adrian Fernandez in 3rd place is about 1.8 seconds behind this battle. Then it's Brian Herta. Richie Hearn has dropped back to 5th place from 4th. Jimmy Vasser is 6th. Michael Andretti 7th. Bobby Rahal 8th. Mauricio Gugelmin 9th. And Mark Blundell 10th. More on Zanardi from Gary Gerald.
Bob, you mentioned 10 laps to go at 1.8 miles per lap. They're calculating madly with every lap for Zanardi. The word as of just moments ago, they think they can make it now. When he crosses the stripe to take the checkered flag, there should be something just under 1 gallon left. It's going to be that tight, and I guess this is when you pray that the fuel pickup system works 100%.
All right, Gary. There is Hiro Matsushita pitting late in the going. Looks like this will be a splash and go for the Japanese driver as he winds up his 9-year career in the championship. Robbie Gordon will be back in that car. We'll be back with more after a word from our ABC stations. Back in Rio de Janeiro, Alex Zanardi leads the kart Rio 400. There will be 6 laps to go next time across the finish line. He goes around P.J. Jones and the All-American Racers Toyota machine. There is Greg Moore in blue just coming into your screen.
That's going to hurt Greg Moore because PJ's in the way. He can't go around him on the outside. He's going to lose a little bit of ground there. Even this draft won't help him a lot. He needed Alex to be held up by PJ so he could close that gap up a little bit.
Timing is everything. Pulled up behind the California driver just at the worst moment on the racetrack.
That's no reflection on PJ. He couldn't do anything. Greg Moore wasn't into the corner enough. He had to run his racing line.
But the gap remains under a second. 5 laps to go next time across the stripe.
Now this helps Greg. This helps Greg right there because that car is slowing up Alex. Alex had to lift coming off. Greg Moore's alongside. Go down the inside.
Oh, no, what do you do if you're
this.
Ard Meyer in that yellow Lola? He's
You
got
lift.
the race leader sandwiching him.
Oh!
Oh! And Moore around the outside into 1. Oh, he makes it. Oh, Zanardi's up high. Can he hold it?
No, he got out on the gray. He couldn't do anything. Greg Moore did an incredible move.
And kudos to Alex Zanardi for keeping that car under control and off the concrete. There will be 4 laps to go next time by. Zanardi suddenly second.
And the championship makes another change. Look at this. What a move by Greg Moore right down the outside. Zanardi tries to go in there. Greg says, 2 really professional moves there by both of those drivers.
And Greg Moore is now in the lead with 4 laps to go, looking for his 3rd career win. Incredibly mature at just 23 years of age, the points leader wants to take a firm grip on this championship.
And Alex has all that ground to make up, and even if he made it up, he still then has to find a way around Greg. Now the question is, of course, fuel. We've all been concerned about that fuel situation.
Here comes Michael Andretti going around Zanardi's teammate Jimmy Vasser for 6th place. And some more precious championship points toward the PPG Cup and the $1 million bonus that goes with it at season end. 3 laps to go now.
Chip Ganassi cannot be the happiest team owner with those last couple of laps, having lost a few spots for both of his drivers.
Greg Moore from Maple Ridge, British Columbia in Canada, a suburb of Vancouver, where we'll be racing later on this season. Started 7th and now runs in 1st place with 2 laps to go next time by.
But the great thing, look, Alex Zanardi is not giving up there. He wants another shot at Greg Moore. And this is going to go right down to the wire.
2 laps to go. Moore and Zanardi. Adrian Fernandez in 3rd is 3 seconds behind this battle. It is up to these 2.
I think these guys are both okay on fuel, but it depends on whether Chip Ganassi says, hey, let's turn that thing up. We want this victory. Go ahead and enrich it up, pour all the fuel you can in it. We're not going to worry about that last gallon.
Zanardi closing up. We have had 4 different winners in the first 4 races of the FedEx Championship for 1998. Will we get a 5th in as many races? We're about to find out. 1.8 miles to go for Greg Moore. Final lap.
This is going to be incredible. Because now it's a drag race down to turn 4, and that's the last braking spot. Alex is really going to have to close in under braking here.
Zanardi is renowned for his bonsai moves in the closing moments of races. Is he close enough? There's Mark Blundell moving very slowly, letting the race leaders take the corner first.
He took it in there deep, but I don't think he has enough.
Zanardi back on the throttle, but I don't think he'll do it. Greg Moore, sudden victory, the 3rd of his career. Zanardi 2nd, and the celebration breaks out in the Forsyth Racing pits. Oh, what a brilliant move for Greg Moore, taking the lead, lapping traffic, and holding it to the line against one of the top guns in the game.
And he made a move that Alex Zanardi would be very proud to make.